Okay, so it's recording. Hello, my name is Annmarie, and I am here with Terrance, and he is the introvert leader. Say hi and introduce
Hey,
yourself.
hey, how's everybody doing? My name's Terrance Lee. I'm the introvert leader platform to empower introverts at work, in business, and in life. And yeah, so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. I really wanted to talk to you about how you met your wife. Let's start with the how, as an introvert, did you meet your wife?
Okay. So I'll try to not make it too long of a story. So let me try to think of the abbreviated version.
Well, who talked to
Uh,
who first?
yeah. So we could start there. So basically, and this is gonna sound a little strange with me being an introvert and everything, but
Hmm.
I actually used to be a party promoter in the Dallas
Oh,
area out here.
okay.
So I had different events. Me and my business partner, who, by the way, is way more outgoing. It's
Hmm.
funny because a lot of my friends are more extroverted. But anyway, so we were doing events in the area, and we had gotten an invite to a day party. He had actually, I didn't notice at the time, but he had met my wife's friend,
Okay.
at a different event. And so he got invited to this day party. So he's like, hey Terrence, you should come to this with me, right? And I actually wasn't gonna go, but
Oh.
ended up meeting him there. And when I got there,
Hmm.
I walk in. I was only there probably about a minute or two, and I saw this girl, and I was just like, man, like I need to know who that is, right?
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I actually had a girlfriend at the time. So,
Okay.
it was one of those where, hey, I want to know who that is, but obviously I, can't do anything about it. We ended up meeting each other. So I introduced myself to her, right? She
Hmm.
introduced herself to me.
So
We
you
had a,
met. You met because a friend told you about. A friend was with her friend, and y'all. That's how
well,
y'all met.
yeah. So like he had met her friend at another event. And so the friend told him about this day party.
Okay, gotcha.
And my wife and her friend, they were actually the ones hosting the day party. So it's one of those kind of,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's one of those things where I ended up there. Had he not met them and then they didn't invite him to that, then I wouldn't have met her. Does it make sense? It's
Oh,
kind
so
of,
it's like your circle. I'm gonna write that
yeah,
down. I'm taking notes. Your circle
right.
of people.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So we met at that event, right? Great conversation. But at the same time, again, I was in a relationship at the time. So I wasn't really thinking, much of it. But as time kind of went by, I would see her out and about in Dallas. Like I would
Mhm.
be at different events. We'd bump into each other. We would speak
Oh,
briefly. And then eventually, me and my girlfriend at the time, we broke up. And when that happened, within probably about a week or so, I looked on Facebook and I'm like, all right, so let me see if I can reach out to Octavia, right? And when I reached out to her, she had a boyfriend. So
okay.
it was just kind of like, all right, the timing just wasn't right for that. So fast forward a few months later, probably about 3 or 4 more months, and I reached out to her again, and it just so happened that this time she was single, right? So
Okay.
we ended up going on a date, and kind of the rest is history. I mean, ever since then, we've been together. That was in 2011. So
Oh.
yeah, it's been
So
about 10 years.
do you think she is also an introvert?
So it's funny because me and her are very similar. So the thing about her is, and it's interesting because even with this pandemic and everything, we've really seen this because she can be in the house and be cool. Like
Mhm.
if she's got her Netflix and some popcorn and whatever, like she's good. Um, but at the same time, she's one of those where when she gets comfortable with people,
Mhm.
then she can talk all day. I mean, some of her best friends are like more outgoing, extroverted people,
Mhm.
and literally she'll be on the phone with them for like hours, or they could
Yeah.
talk forever. And I'm similar too. Like I'm one of those where a lot of my friends are probably more I would say like the life of the party types. Um, and when it's me and them, like we could be, talking all day, hanging out, whatever. So she is, I think, extroverted around people she's comfortable with,
Mhm.
but then she's more introverted if it's like new people around or people she doesn't know. So
Oh, okay. Next time I will invite her and y'all can talk together. But I want to know how you lead in your marriage since you guys are both introverts, and like did y'all communicate that before y'all got together? Like I don't like being around people that much, or like how did that happen?
yeah, that's a good question. So it wasn't really like we had to. I don't. I'm trying to think. It's not like I specifically was like, "Hey, so I'm an introvert. Are you an introvert?" It's kind of like we kind of figured it out about each other. I think
Okay.
because just the way that she is. Like I know, for example, um, if it's her birthday, she's not gonna want me to plan a surprise party with like 50 people. Like she's just
Okay.
not gonna want me to do that. Um, and I realized that when we were dating, and honestly, I think that just comes from getting to know somebody. I
Mm-hmm.
think when you start dating in the very beginning, you kind of have to really study that person
Mm-hmm.
at the start, because what happens is if you don't do that, you end up learning stuff later down the line, and you're like, wait, hold up, I didn't even know this about you. Like,
Yeah.
but I think we spent a lot of time just studying each other. Like when we were in that dating phase before we got married. So as far as like how I lead, the main thing is just paying attention to her, paying attention to what makes her comfortable, what makes her uncomfortable. Um, and I think she kind of does the same for me. Like she knows for me that I don't necessarily like being around um, new people all the time. Like I'm cool with meeting new people. I do network, and I like to make new relationships. But as far as if it's like a birthday party or a dinner or something like that, I'm kind of more. I prefer those smaller circles, and I think she knows that about me. So yeah, I think it's just all about knowing the person you're with.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how you said y'all had the dating phase, but like now in 21, like we skipped that phase. Like there is no dating phase. Like
Right,
they have situationships. Like you don't know if you're
right.
together, if you're seeing other people. So it's definitely a different time. So what advice would you have for single people who are looking for a relationship?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It's tough on y'all. It's tough. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm not even gonna lie. I could really see, especially in this situation, the way that things are with the pandemic, and I mean, even the ability to meet people, I would assume is really hard. Um,
Mhm.
so this is what I would say, because I have a lot of female cousins and friends, and we talk about different things. And I've got, male cousins and friends. We talk about things as well. Um, it's kind of like, what is your standard and what are you looking for? You know,
Mhm.
and not being willing to budge on that. Because what I think happens a lot of times, or at least what I see, is people want to be with someone so bad. It's like, hey, I need that companionship. I need to be around somebody. And so they'll budge on what they require, right?
Mhm.
Like they'll have certain requirements and things they want, but it's like, well, all right, so I know I got these like five things that are really my core. Well, this person got two of them, so all right, that's cool. Let me just,
Mhm.
I'll do that. And I think when that happens, a person can compromise themselves,
Mhm.
and then down the line, you end up where you're not happy, and you may not know why. And I know this because I did it. I've done it. Um, definitely in prior relationships and situations that happen. I've had situationships. I already know what that is and how that goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like, and then also like, what is the goal? That's the other thing that I say.
Mhm.
Is like, what's the ultimate goal of this relationship with this person? Is the goal to just have fun? Is the
Mhm.
goal like, all right, I'm trying to really build something with this person? Is the goal, I'm only looking to date people to eventually get married? Like, whatever the goal is, it's important to know that, and to communicate that with that person too. because a person might be thinking, all right, well, this is just a cool kind of fun thing, but if
Mhm.
the other person is thinking like more long term and they want something serious, then those people aren't on the same page, you know. So I don't know if I did a good job answering the question
Yeah, that is
there, but
actually very insightful. Like, I don't really have many male friends that I could talk, that I can like pick their brain about relationships. So, my other question is, when you met your wife, did you meet her with the intention to marry her? And did you set that, so you communicated that, or did you wait and see? Or how did you know she was like the one?
so, you know, when I first met her, obviously with me being in another relationship, that did make it, you know, where I didn't have those thoughts then. I would say that when we started to date, I definitely started to have those thoughts quickly, you know,
Mhm.
um, which was interesting. And that's why I say, you know, a lot of times that I think with men, people are like, you know, well, when does a man know he's ready to be married, right? Like, when does a
Mhm.
man know he's ready to settle? And I can honestly say that it just depends. Like, it just depends on the guy. Because with me, I mean, we went on a date in September 2011. We were engaged within a year from that. Prior
Oh,
to
okay.
that, I had been in relationships, one for 7 years, another one for 3 years, you know.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, with this situation, um, literally within a few months, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna marry her. And you know, when I started to communicate that with her and let her know, and she was upfront with me too. That's the other thing I think is important for women. It's like she let me know, like, all right, so this is what I want. I'm looking for something long term,
Mhm.
something serious. If that's not what you want, let me know now. You know,
Mhm.
and I let her know that I was serious. So I think we had that where we were on the same page, and you know that did help.
I think that's a benefit of being an introvert. Like, you spend so much time alone. Like, I believe like you should know yourself, and you should know how to
Yep.
present yourself to a partner, so that when you do meet someone, you say like, okay, I'm looking for this. What are you looking for? And then you move
Right.
on, or you continue that relationship. I think it's difficult these days because there's so many distractions, and people don't really know who they are, but they're still looking for a relationship. And it's just amazing that, I wouldn't say amazing, but I would say for me, like, I am a respiratory therapist, and I see patients all the time, and they can't be with their loved ones. So like, no one knew that there would be a pandemic where people would have to be alone, or else there would be something like a consequence in it. And it's okay to be by yourself. And
Right.
I'm really realizing that now, and that when I'm ready for a relationship, I'm ready. Like, when I'm ready for a relationship, I know what I want, I know what I can offer, and it's going to be like a simple like exchange. Like, I don't know why it has to be so difficult. I think it's because there's so many people out in the world, there's so many choices, cuz you even had a girlfriend when you met your wife. So,
Right.
what I I think I've asked all my questions. Like, do you have any questions? Or I didn't want to take up too much of your time.
No, no, you're good. This is a good conversation. So I actually like this because, to be honest, a lot of conversations I've been having have been more like leadership, you know, work related. This is I'm enjoying this because this is a whole different angle, right? Like the whole
Yeah.
relationship aspect of you know being an introvert. So let me. I guess I'll ask you a question. Like, what made you want to you know get into this you know these kind of topics, like talking about relationships as it relates to introverts and
Well,
everything?
so my mission is to help introverts become successful in business, life, and love. And my focus is female business owners who are introverts. I want to help them communicate their message, because I think the thing that sets some people back is they have to work, they're working a 9 to 5, and they're not able to live out their passion. And for me, I have a very stressful job, and I needed something that can ignite my fire again, because you need a balance in life. It's like how you're saying,
Yeah.
like you're talking about
Yeah.
leadership and corporate, and it's like it's difficult to talk to someone with a mask on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Especially when you're an introvert and you don't really talk, don't really talk that loud. And then like I keep saying like I'm trying to correct myself,
No,
but
you good. You good.
it's just really difficult these days. But then there's like social media, but then there is also catfishing. So I think I would take your pick of it's the people you know, like that can connect you. So if I'm connected to people, I do ask like if they have any, like, do you have a brother who's single? And then I asked like people, but I think when you were with your wife, like it was meant to be, like because
Yeah.
you were in
Yeah.
a relationship and then she was in a relationship with someone else and then y'all lost touch for like months and then y'all came back. So I really think it could be fate. I don't want to put it up to that, but what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, to be totally honest with you, I think so much of it is just timing. It's like sometimes, the right people can meet at the wrong time. And sometimes the wrong people can meet at the right time. Like
Yeah,
two people that really shouldn't be together, they might both be single and they might start dating, but they might not be the best for each other. But it's
true.
just they just want to be with somebody, so they end up together. Again, I'm speaking from experience. I've done that, so I think it's like it can be fate, destiny, or whatever that is. But I think there's also an element of, you do want to put yourself in situations to meet people, right? So kind of just like you were saying, if there's people that friends have other friends who know other
Mm-hmm.
people, and people a lot of times meet that way. I do know a few couples that are actually married, have been for several years, that met each other online too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of, I didn't really know about that. Like when I was single, I was like, I don't know, but I mean, I've definitely met a few couples that's how they met, and they seem to be doing great. So it's all kind of different methods out there. Again, I know with COVID, it's different because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and this might sound a little funny, but I was thinking to myself, like, if I was single and I was out here and everyone's got masks on, well, how do I even know like how the person looks?
Oh,
Like, you know what I
that
mean?
is
Is that a
true.
weird thought? I
That
don't
is
know.
definitely not a weird thought. That is true because people definitely don't look what you think they look when they take off their mask.
Right,
So I
right.
think it'd probably be more popular to do like Zoom dates and
Yeah.
just be creative. Maybe I
Yep.
could set that up. I could set like a Zoom dating, speed dating thing. Maybe I'll
There you
work on that next
there you
time.
go. That might be an
Yeah.
idea right
That might
there.
be like a problem that I could solve. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
So I want to ask you, how do you guys fight? Like what happens when y'all fight? Like do y'all fight? Like how does that disagreement?
Y- Yeah, yeah. So we do the probably the typical introvert thing. We get quiet and we just don't talk to each other. That's what we do. The cold shoulder thing. Um, but I'll say this though, I think we've gotten better in a lot of ways, because what'll happen now is like, we know when one or the other is feeling away,
Mhm,
and so instead of it being a thing like we just give each other our space until we're ready. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So if there's a certain disagreement, or if I've said something that bothered her, she said something that bothered me, we'll kind of give each other that space. And then eventually it's like we come back together. It's like, all right, so when you said such and such, that made me feel this. When you said such and such. So we kind of do like the cold shoulder thing, which I don't know. That's probably like not good to do. But we
I think it's natural.
Yeah, but the good thing, like I said, is that we do like eventually come
Come
back
back.
though. That's the thing. I think when it's a problem is when the two people literally just, there's the cold shoulder and they don't come back, and they just keep moving on like everything is okay. Because then the issue never got dealt with. Like y'all
Mhm.
never actually talked about it and got to the root of it. So we try to at least do that, like attack it head on. But usually not right when it happens. Usually right when it happens,
Right.
like my wife is just she ain't talking to me, and we that's where we're at. But we try to always come back together.
Okay, that is awesome because I have seen relationships where they bottle things up and it just like stacks on top of each other. And then, like, you just blow up one day and then you're just talking about, remember what you did to me last month and last year? Like,
Exactly.
and bringing up
Exactly.
old stuff. And it's really difficult for us introverts because we have to look at each side and it takes time to do that. And that's why communication is very, very, very important in a relationship. In any relationship, doesn't have to be a romantic one as well. So I think that is awesome. And how long have you guys been married? I'm getting in your business.
Nah, nah, you good. You good. So September 1st, 2013 is when we
Oh,
got married. So this year will be 8 years in September.
and do you have kids?
We do. Yeah, so a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. She's gonna actually be three here in a few weeks. So a
Oh,
son and a daughter.
wow. So how are y'all
Yeah.
doing with this lock? Are you locked down in Texas or have y'all had to work at home and how is that working out?
Yeah. So we're both working at home, and we've definitely been locked down. The kids don't like it. I mean, they want to get out, and we try to take them to parks and things like that, on the weekends. But yeah, we're pretty much locked down. I mean, Texas in general is open, like a lot of restaurants and things are open, but
Yeah.
the number of cases are really high out here. So we just choose to mostly stay in the house. Like we don't do a whole lot.
So how do y'all get time to just yourselves with the kids?
Uh, that's tough. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Mainly it's when they go to bed.
Okay.
It's usually, so we have them on a pretty good schedule. So, they're in bed by like 8 o'clock. And, that's
Okay.
when we'll try to do like date nights and we'll try to do different things.
Yeah, and
So that's cool.
I'm gonna remind you that Valentine's Day is coming up, so make sure you plan something special. I'm
Yep.
helping my girl out. And
Yep.
I thank you so much for coming on. And I know we met on social media and like this is our first time meeting, but it was great having conversation. So where can people find you online?
Yeah, definitely. So I can be found on Instagram and YouTube, the Introvert Leader. So I drop different videos, different inspirational content, just looking to empower other introverts out there. I also recently got on Clubhouse, so
Oh, I'm
my
on Clubhouse
handle,
too.
yep, yep. So my handle on Clubhouse is just Introvert Leader on
Mhm.
Clubhouse. So feel free to follow me on there as well.
Oh, we could like host rooms on Clubhouse. Have you hosted any rooms on Clubhouse?
No, I'm still trying to figure out, what I'm supposed to do on Clubhouse. So yeah, I would be down. Yeah, I would be down for that.
Okay. Well,
Uh,
this is the end of the interview, so I'm going to stop recording.